Thank you.
You're listening to IWW Radio, coming to you from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And in the house today we have Kyle Pacey. Kyle, welcome to the show, and can you give our listeners a little bit of history on how Kyle started in this business?
Well, I guess it would have been the Beatles, Dave Clark 5, a great band called Them, the Zombies, my favorite, and this the 60s, I love it, Fred. That's what did it. And when I heard the Moody Blues and Folk Harem, and then I heard Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I went, my God.
Back then, the music was, so melodic and beautiful and rootsy. And it was so enjoyable for myself, and I would imagine yourself too, to grow up into that, because I feel, even today that's really helped me with, composing and grooving on the drums, and just to set that groove like Hal Blaine did, a lot of the recordings.
Victor Garber, Peter Mann.
That's right. And
because I used to.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I was just I was my first edition with the bank was a sugar shop at the Colonial in Toronto when I was just 16 years old. I met Victor Garber, but I wasn't quite good enough at that time. But that was my first introduction to Toronto, the sugar shop at the Colonial.
Wow, cool. Give our listeners a little more history on Kyle in regards. Okay, let's take it from the 70s and go forward up till this point.
Okay. Well, 1973, I was with a band called the Magic Bubble. We're playing Confederation Park, and Buddy Rich, the big band, was there. Anyways, to make a long story short, Buddy Rich offered me a job. I didn't take it because I was 21 and I just got married from a woman so I just wanted to stay in Canada. And then when Kerry Cath had the unfortunate circumstances of making a mistake with a gun, I was supposed to be one of his replacements on guitar for Chicago Transit Authority, who became Chicago. That was back in '78.
Right.
Kerry Cath died on my birthday in 1978, ironically enough. So that happened, but I was in Canada. I went through a messy divorce, so I didn't bother trying to go with Chicago. And then I recorded with Daniel Langlois, some of my original music.
Yep.
Since then, I've been playing on the road, teaching music pretty well full time, Fred, and just working on my music, listening to music, and doing a lot of reading on metaphysics, comparative religions, and blah blah blah. And
Perfect.
That's about all I can tell you. And I'm a man on a mission. I want to save the world. I know it sounds corny, Fred, but you want me, there you got me, man. I just don't know what to say. Thank God for good music.
That's perfect, Kyle. Okay, let's move on here, and we're going to play the first tune off the brand new album from Kyle Pacey, Divine.
There's something about you, girl, that I can't explain. Why can't you see what you do to me? You've made life ecstasy. Just being with you is enough for me. It was meant to be. There's something about you, girl. It was meant to be. You're the one for me. I wouldn't lie to you. I'm on fire for you. 'Cause I love you, girl. Said I wouldn't lie to you. I would die for you. 'Cause you're divine, girl. The time, divine girl, everything's fine. Divine girl, so you'll be mine. Divine girl, oh oh. love you, girl. Said I would lie to you, that I would die for you. 'Cause you're divine, girl, all of the time. Divine, girl, say you'll be mine. Divine, girl, everything's fine. Divine, girl, oh, oh. I'm hoping that you will love me too. All I can say, I'm gonna love you, girl. I'm gonna love you, baby. There's something about you, girl, that I can't explain. Just being with you is enough for me. It was meant to be. 'Cause you're divine, girl, all of the time. Divine, girl, everything's fine. Divine, girl, say you'll be mine. Divine, girl, oh, oh. Divine, girl, all of the time. Divine, girl, everything's fine. Divine, girl, say you'll be mine. Divine, girl, oh, oh.
You're listening to IWW Radio, coming to you from Niagara Falls, Ontario, and in the house today we have Kyle Pacey. Kyle, fill our listeners in on that song that we just heard, Divine. How was that born?
It's a love song about a woman. I think everyone searches for their the love of their life. I have the love of my life, luckily, and I keep writing the creative influence to the song. But it's an R&B thing. It's just about a guy being happy. He's got the woman that he wants to be with, and the song comes to you. But I got to tell you, Fred, and I bet you'll agree, I don't know where the music comes from. It's a voice in my head, and sometimes the song writes itself. It's like Mike Schlosky said to me about my CD, so close. He says, Kyle, the songs write themselves. But Divine was an inspiration about a woman, and, kind of a funky thing. And that's what did it with that. And also I have Dan Lockwood playing.
Cool.
He's on another, but this has Mike Schlosky at this point right now. But Divine is just basically, it's a love song. It's funny because, I don't know, I'm kind of tongue-tied, but that song, a lot of people like that, and one or two of the other bands I play with, we do that song as covers. And, so a lot of girls, obviously it's nice to know that. A lot of women come up to me, Kyle, I love Divine. So that's great. So the song is getting me a lot of good recognition. I'm very happy with that song.
Well, that's great. Great writing, very nice and smooth and to the point, and obviously recorded at Pine Street Studios by Michael Barthelmer. Excellent engineer, as we can hear, folks. He really, pulls the science out of this one, and also the next one. Okay, Kyle, let's move on to the next one. And this is So Close by Kyle Pacey.
Got a message for a girl for 18. Said she won't take my call. Been sitting here crashing, world got me down. Her and me, ecstasy. When you find the right one just a breath away, it's hard not to be enthused. Gotta stay in the mood, figure out what to do. Should heartbreak claim you? So close, so close. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. You're so close. Oh, you're so close. You're so close. Close but no cigar. Close but no cigar. So close. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. There's a saying that fits my situation all too well. She's so close. Oh, you're so close. You're so close. Close but no cigar. Close but no cigar. So close. So close. So close. So close. So close. So close. So close.
You're listening to IWW Radio, coming to you from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Kyle, give our listeners a little bit of insight about So Close.
Well, Fred, So Close is another one of those songs about a woman. I can't help it. It's like, I'll tell you, this song gets to me because the whole song came, Fred, from 4 words. Or, yeah, close but no cigar. That same song,
Love it.
I thought of that, and the whole song kind of spurred from that one saying, I swear. Close but no cigar. You know, I'm so close to this. I'm so close, but I'm no cigar. I can't get her. And then I love Latin music. You know, Santana, Alge, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm at home. It's like that funky thing with the horns. And the woman's so close, but I can't get her. She's so close. I'm doing everything I can to get her.
Well, I'll tell you, Kyle, that last tune, So Close, I feel that Santana feeling
so
that.
Much.
Beautiful job. And I hope this does wonders for you. And I know that you're up for a Grammy.
Yep.
And tell our listeners where you're playing and what have you got coming up for our, for our listeners.
Okay, if I could mention my website.
Yep.
It's Kyle Pacey, KYLEPACEY.com. And if I could say you could get my CD, Fred, you can get it through my website, KylePacey.com, or on Bandcamp. I hope I'm saying this at the right time. Thank you. And stores in Hamilton, Revolution Records, the acoustic